Is it wise to date someone that is a co-worker? There are some exceptions where it works out, but in today's video I have a case study that showcases what happens when it goes wrong. And in this one, it goes very wrong indeed. We have an email from a subscriber who got involved with a woman he worked with, who was love bombing him, went through an unwanted pregnancy with him, betrayed him, and as a result, he lost his job. Let's begin. But before that, let me give an introduction for those of you who are new. Welcome to Relearning Relationships. My name is Christian and I teach men to master relationships righteously. Now, I am going to keep this guy's name private, so we'll refer to him as Jimmy. So let's see what he has to say about his crazy situation. Right. He starts off by saying, "Hi Christian, thank you for the work you do. Your content has set me straight during a very dark time in my life. Your videos and assessments are nothing short of phenomenal. I wanted to share my story with you as it is similar to many of the ones you have broken down. I appreciate your kind words, and let's see what you have to share. I'm sure many men and women too will benefit from your experience. Because even for the ladies watching, this is going to show you what sort of woman you don't want to be. And if you have any women like that in your environment or close to you, cut them off." So it all starts when he started a new job. He says, "I started a new job about a year ago. There was a younger girl that appeared to be dating one of the other workers, but we never had any interaction with each other. Then about 5 months in, she came up to me and slipped a note in my pocket asking to hang out. Bit risky, but passive as well. She told me that she had broken up with the other guy and it was over between them. Is it really? We hung out in a group of people the first few times. She was all over me." So this is already the first thing I'm seeing here that shouldn't have taken place. If she asked to hang out with you and she's really inviting you out on a date, or at the very least putting herself in your environment so that you can ask her, you do a one-on-one, okay? For those listening, when you go on a first date, you want it to be private, in a calm, relaxing environment. There's no loud noise. There's not other people involved, just you and her where you can sit and talk and get to know each other. You don't do movie dates. You don't do concerts. You can do other activities, even in a group setting, friends or family friends, once you're serious. But initially, you want to get to know each other. And quite frankly, even as you get more serious, you should both yearn to spend more time together privately, not really be around that many other people. And how you start is how you finish. And what I'm seeing here already is this woman isn't too serious in getting to know him. If she was, she'd want him all to herself one-on-one privately to talk. Instead, they go out for the first few times in a group setting. That's not right. However, she was all over me. She tried to suck me off and get me to have sex with her the first night. Second issue, this woman is clearly promiscuous. Either most likely has a streak of doing this in the past, or she's going through some type of midlife crisis. You shall know them by their fruits. Don't look at what people say, look at what they do. This is when, as a man, you've got to remove your lust and your ego and look at this situation from a righteous lens. Do you think a woman that's serious about being a wife and a mum, finding a man she can spend her life with, is going to get on her knees and be intimate with him on a first night when you're both complete strangers? This sounds like a woman that has done it before. She's insensitive to male touch, to be intimate with men. It's not looking good, is it? But the key here is that she tried to do those things with him. Let's see how we responded. I said things were moving too fast, and I did not do anything with her. So far, so good. And that is when it should have ended. You held your ground, you stood up for your values, and that's when you should have cut her off. Flee from the immoral woman. Don't let her seduce you with her eyelids. This is not a good woman. She's leading you astray if you continue on. Listen to the next thing, right? She had a tantrum about me friend-zoning her, threw her phone on the pavement, and stormed off with another guy. Isn't that cute? Yeah, imagine the lucky guy who's stuck married to that woman. It's not looking good, is it? So you stood your ground, you stated your boundaries, and what did you get in return? An emotional tantrum of a child. She's throwing her phone, so she doesn't value her belongings, doesn't have any control over her emotions. And then she goes off with another guy who she most likely had on standby, given the fact that she has no issues with getting on her knees to pleasure a man that is a stranger to her. She has shown you who she is. But the question is, Jimmy, did you recognize who she was? Or did you turn a blind eye? For those of you watching, you're about to find out. She then showed up to my apartment at 3 a.m. after doing cocaine all night from the time she'd stormed off. These red flags keep stacking. Where there's one, there's more. I let her sleep on my couch for a few hours, and then I walked her to her car. Big mistake. She shows up to your apartment at 3 a.m. You keep the door locked. You stay asleep. You get a text message the next day. Why didn't you let me in? I just couldn't hear you. Don't invite her in. Because once you do, she's got a foot in the door. So I let her sleep on my couch for a few hours, then I walked her to her car. We hung out a couple of weeks later in a group. Why? If you knew she was going to be there, opt out of going. Or at the very least, don't interact with her. She's not going to have a tantrum in a group setting unless she's going to risk exposing herself, right? Unless she really is that crazy and she doesn't mind doing it in public in front of everyone. What sort of people are you mingling with? Like attracts like. 1 Corinthians 15:33 in scripture tells us very plainly, bad company corrupts good morals. It doesn't mean that they're going to convince you to also take drugs and do horrible things, but at the very least, it's going to affect your mood. They might get you to doubt your values. You might feel uncertain or anxious to be around them. That does damage to you emotionally. Guard your heart. So Jimmy goes back with this group. Then she ended up back at my house trying to sleep with me again. She's trying now for round 2. I said, are you sure you don't want to work things out with your boyfriend? He seems like a nice guy, has a good job, provides, does not abuse her, etc. But she said it was over. Well, even if the boyfriend seemed like a nice guy, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but assuming he is a nice guy, at the very least we can make a very logical assessment that the problem wasn't the ex-boyfriend. The problem was her going off with other men, most likely sleeping around, being unfaithful, doing cocaine. If she's throwing tantrums with you and you're a stranger that she was lusting after, what else was she doing behind closed doors to that poor fella? Nothing good, right? Remember, normal, healthy, feminine women will appreciate a masculine guy. The same way a masculine guy who's healthy is going to appreciate a feminine woman. If she's messed up, why would she appreciate this guy? It's not happening. Again, I said things were moving too fast for me, and I was concerned this would end up impacting my job. She then locked herself in my bathroom and was on the phone with her friend, complaining that I wouldn't have sex with her. That tells you everything you need to know about her. She's just like her friends. Imagine that. Imagine that being her complaint. She doesn't have any values. She doesn't value purity, dignity. She's already a bad communicator. Her lifestyle is not congruent with someone who's moral. Walk away. Eventually, I caved in and started seeing each other. Well, as the old saying goes, fool me once, shame on you, but fool me twice, shame on me. The first time, you didn't know who she was. You took a chance. She tried to come onto you. You stood your ground. Good man. The second time, even though now you know who she is, she tries again. And you close the door because you did it again, not having sex with her, so you hold yourself back. But then the third time, now you cave in. So now this is on you. This is now a you problem. So I caved in and we started seeing each other. This is why I want all of you young men watching who are single. You have to be prepared for things like this. When you go out there, you might meet a woman you think is lovely, physically, and then she's a monster inside. There's good ones and bad ones. And if you don't know how to distinguish, your lust can get a hold of you. Be very careful. Regardless, let's continue on. He says, the first 6 to 8 weeks were filled with intense love bombing, idealization, and crazy sex. It didn't feel right with so many red flags, but I hadn't had a girlfriend or much attention from many women over the last 10 years. So I was happy to have a cute girl to spend time with. Big mistake. And that's not a reason to get with someone. Okay, so you're a little bit lonely. You maybe haven't been that serious with a woman. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, there were things that you were going through. You had different priorities. That's okay. See, in life, we make a decision one of two ways. Out of desperation or out of inspiration. You made a desperate choice here. A woman came your way. Even though she was full of issues, you were willing to give her a chance because it was better than being alone. You felt good, right? But if you were inspired, you had your values, which you seemed to have at the beginning, you would have said to yourself, you know what? This isn't someone I can build a life with. I'm not going to give my body to this woman. It's going to end up hurting me. I'm going to close myself off and I'll search elsewhere for a better woman. You want to make a choice when you're calm, peaceful, you're relaxed, from a place of confidence, from a calm mind. Before you make a decision, ask yourself, have you eaten enough that day? Are your hormones all over the place? Are you emotional? Have you been upset about something? Don't make a choice. Relax. Weigh out all the options. Use your logic and reason. But you didn't. You caved in. This is on you. You saw the red flags, you ignored them. And your justification was, well, it's been 10 years since a girl's given me attention. So now even if she's damaged, it looks good, right? He said her so-called ex-boyfriend grew increasingly jealous and eventually attacked me at work, sucker punching me on camera in front of multiple witnesses. Well, maybe the guy had issues after all. But he was most likely triggered by his ex, what she was like, and now he's acting out emotionally. And you just got in the way. You were the middleman. However, it was all recorded in front of multiple witnesses, so you really didn't do anything wrong. And that same week, we learned that she was pregnant. Isn't that great? Guys, this is what happens. You're not serious about relationships. You just wing it with your emotions. He gets assaulted at work. He gets dragged down to the pits of hell by an immoral woman. And he gets that monster pregnant. This is where it gets even worse. Oddly enough, she distanced herself from me even though she was carrying my child and gravitated back to her ex. I mean, this woman was never fit to be a wife, but she surely is not ready to be a mother either. She intended on keeping the baby, and I even went to the ultrasound with her at 8 weeks. At this point, we were not spending any time together outside of work, and her behavior toward me at work became increasingly negative. She even began showing signs of monkey branching onto a third guy who also worked for the same company. Man, she likes her co-workers, right? She gets along with them. This is not looking good at all. She's pregnant with your kid. She's going kind of back to the ex, and now there's a third guy she's gravitating towards as well. I grew so stressed out, anxious, and depressed that I actually left work on short-term disability and entered an outpatient program for anxiety and depression. When I was first out of work, she would call me on her breaks or want me to meet her, as I lived just a few minutes away. But after a couple of weeks, she began to claim she wasn't getting any breaks and was too busy to see me. Sure she was. People treat you how they feel about you. That is a simple metric you can always use, man or woman. That's reality. Doing cocaine, love bombing you, trying to sleep with you when you're a stranger, freaking out when she doesn't get her way, gets pregnant by you, and then she doesn't mind distancing herself and finding a different man. But at the end of the day, ask yourself, what can you do moving forward? Because this is on you, Jimmy. You saw the red flags and you caved in. But you've learned the lesson the hard way now. You know what happens when you make a desperate decision. Oh, I'm so lonely, I'll take the coke addict, crazy girl. That's what you did. Instead, you don't want to do that. You want to be inspired. You want to be peaceful and have clarity. Be very fine-tuned on what you want in a woman so that you can make those decisions from a rational mind in accordance to God's will for your life. That's why I created Relationship Mastery. I recommend book a call in your free time, link in the description, or go on my website and book a free 30-minute consultation with me, and we can cover all the specifics. It would help you out. And for anybody interested, you know what to do. continuing on with the video. So after a couple of weeks, she claimed she wasn't getting any breaks, too busy to see me, and then she claimed to have a miscarriage. This coincided with reports that she was all over the third guy and spending every one of her breaks outside with him. Well, you don't know if she got the ABORTION word. I can't say the full word because YouTube already took down a video of mine on this topic last year. But it definitely sounds like she had a part in that supposed miscarriage instead of it being an accident. Regardless, that kid is never going to grow up with that damaged mother, and you're not going to be a single dad, so count your blessings. And just to see, she went through a miscarriage and she's not grieving. She's just all over this other guy. That's messed up beyond belief. She also stopped saying she loved me or missed me and stopped calling me any of her pet names, among many other red flags. She only texted me if I texted her, with longer responses and then shorter responses. I attempted to make plans with her and she would already be busy or make up an excuse or not get back to me. Quite frankly, when someone's into you and they're bonded with you healthily, over time you become a priority. You grow closer and closer towards each other. As a woman, she's feminine. She's nurturing. She's going to build that nest egg with you. She wants to spend all of her free time with you. She'll drive down to see you. She'll take that bus to see you, whatever happens to be. She'll find the time because she loves you. That's what you do when you care. This woman is doing the opposite. But her actions and words match. She stopped saying, I love you. She stops making an effort. She disconnected from you. You were just a boy toy she was using. She was clearly under the influence of substances, as we know, and very lustful, and I'm sure has a lot of damage. Doesn't mean she's an evil person. It just means that she's not suitable for wifehood or motherhood. And as a man, you have to value your seed enough to ask yourself, what sort of woman am I giving myself to? This is in your hands moving forward, Jimmy. Don't let it happen again, mate. So every time you attempt to make plans with her, she just kind of cuts you off, right? If I simply stated I would like to spend some time with her, she'd freak out and start fighting over nothing. And I couldn't take it anymore. And I called her out on it about the other guys. She flew off the handle, deleted me from all social media, and said she was breaking up with me. You didn't have a relationship with her anyway. You didn't. You were just using each other for sex. Or I should say you were being used. And she discarded you. Sounds very narcissistic on her part. Bit of a Jezebel going on here. And again, this coincides with her behavior at the beginning. She was throwing tantrums on a pavement, and now she's flying off the handle, deleting you and blocking you. You weren't threatening her, you weren't abusing her. There's no reason for you to do that, for her to do that towards you. She could have calmly said, listen, you're right, Jimmy, we're not right for each other. I'm with someone else. Wish you all the best. She could have given you some closure. She didn't. She's a broken person that, in a broken way, is only caring for herself in the only way she knows possible. She's not your responsibility to fix or save. Walk away. He said this all happened 6 weeks ago from the time of this video, more or less. We have been doing no contact for the majority of 6 weeks, with our longest and current streak of 3 weeks. There has been nothing positive coming from any communication, so I blocked her completely. Now you're talking. Walk away. You'd go no contact to heal and move on. Why would you want someone back that does drugs, betrays you, treats you like a second-class citizen, throws away the child you had with her, and didn't treat you with any dignity? That's how you want your life to be as a husband and a father? You want your kid to grow up and see you getting beaten down by a woman that's messed up? I think not. Don't do it. So she's now with the third guy. It all turns out that she never left her original boyfriend to begin with. Wow. So this girl was cheating on her boyfriend with me, got pregnant, and then monkey punched to the third guy while still carrying the baby, ultimately discarding me and going with him not even 2 weeks after losing the baby. Oh, we've got woman of the year over here, right? That is not good. But again, you reap what you sow. There's a reason why she can't have a good man in her life. The first boyfriend, they obviously weren't right for each other. She couldn't keep him in her life. She couldn't keep you in her life. She's messed up. She couldn't keep the kid. Third guy, he probably knows about you. He's probably just as damaged and insecure because he's going for a woman that came out of a pregnancy and was with some other guy. Damaged people end up with damaged people. Unless you change and heal, it ain't changing, mate. It's really that simple. In conclusion, Jimmy says this: I ignored the red flags and my instincts. At least you're accountable. Well done. I got assaulted at my workplace, lost a child, got cheated on, ghosted, and still have not returned to work. I feel fortunate that I won't be responsible for a child with this girl, and feel as though I dodged a bullet. I agree. However, she has left me potentially unemployed and my head completely spinning here. I have been feeling better in recent weeks. I found a therapist, hired a personal trainer. I've been reading much more, listening to podcasts and videos such as yours. I've also been attending codependent anonymous meetings online almost daily. I'm going to a Broken Chains church group once a week, and I've mapped out a number of goals for 2023. Thank you, he says. Well, look, you're taking action. I'm very happy to see that. Joining a church group, change of environment, personal trainer is going to help get your health up, therapist, clear your head out, pick up a Bible. That's what you need to do, and you'll be fine. Give yourself time to heal, and definitely give me an update in a few months how those goals turn out for you. Whenever you want to master relationships, you know where to find me. For those of you who have any other interesting situations like this, it could be a positive experience, you had a good outcome, or a bad one, and you believe the people who watch Relearning Relationships can benefit from the lessons you learned, send it my way. With that said, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section, and feel free to share this video with anybody you know who may need it. So that's the video for today. Very simple case study, but it carries a lot of weight. This is just an example of, to the extreme, of how bad things can go if you get involved with the wrong person at the workplace. It can destroy your livelihood. Luckily, Jimmy had his way out in the end. She never ended up truly having the child, and she's distracted with some third guy, so he has enough time to heal. Lesson learned, paid in full. That's the video for today. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'll see you all in the next one. God bless all of you and your families.